Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 1374. Hello, it's Mike Matthews broadcasting from Cafe Anyway, located somewhere in Castro Valley, Mont. Today, we're so excited to have Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, the Brewmaster, plus we will get to the segment called Ain't Life Grand. There's some crazy stories going on today, and it makes you realize that life is grand.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
A grand mess or a grand epic movie.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
That we must all live. I don't know. I thought maybe we would chat about stuff like that, and riding while you're fat on a BART train is not fun. Not too many people want to sit by you. There's really no one. And also because if you have a
Mike's Daily Podcast
smartphone that is a blasting rap music, really bad
Mike's
crap music,
Daily
that's not good.
Podcast
Where women are being demeaned,
yeah,
that's not good. I don't want to hear your demeaning rap. Why don't people blast like classical music in the BART train? Or blast loud instructional audio from Bob Ross, the painter that millennials are obsessed with, who has long since left us. Look, I just walked in. Hi, Mark. It's Benita the Rodeo Queen. How you doing?
It's a Disgruntled Fiddle Player, tell you what.
What?
You rode BART here today to Castro Valley, Mont?
I did, yes. I continue to, because I have to. My car is in the shop. Well, they fixed it on Saturday, but I couldn't pick it up on Saturday because I was at work. Look who else walked in.
Hello, Mike. I make the delicious root beer. I'm the Brewmaster. Oh, boy. Want some brew beer?
No? Oh. I guess they don't want any.
I'll pour some anyway. Oh, boy.
That's wonderful root beer. Ah! And scary simultaneously. Yeah, so that was, I had to ride, I walked from my house to the BART station, which is about a half-hour walk at 4:30 in the morning. I was so tired. And then I get on the BART. And riding from Castro Valley to Bayfair is fine. Then I got to get off at Bayfair because I had to head down to Fremont.
And here's today's podcast picture.
It's a picture of me walking down to the BART station. No, it's of me standing here in the rainforests of Castro Valley. It is so utterly, what's the word? Green in parts of Castro Valley. And there I am standing. I was walking the wonderful Basil the Boxer. And, yeah, I was a little bit sweaty that day. It was a little hot. What I discovered, though, is that why are they blasting? I don't understand. Now, last show we were discussing U2 and bands that I like. Obviously, that guy, although I couldn't see his eyes because the hoodie was covering it, he likes the rap, really bad rap. I couldn't discern who this rap artist was. It wasn't very good, and it was demeaning towards women. I don't know how this rap artist, if he doesn't get a talking to from his wife or his mother or any of the women in his life. Maybe he has a sister saying, hey, you're being a bit of a jerk in your songs. But no, he doesn't get any of that. And that's pretty much this part of the show today, folks. I'm just, wow. You ever had that where you just walked really far and taken a long BART ride and sat next to someone who reeked of pot, and now you're at the destination and you're doing a podcast and you're really tired and then you don't know what else to say on your show? So you say, MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com is a wonderful place to go. If you're going to buy anything on Amazon, click on that Amazon link, buy whatever it is you're going to buy, and all happiness ensues. and that helps out the show. And then also there's the PayPal. You can help us out that way. You can also subscribe to the Mike's Daily Podcast email. Go to MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com, enter your email address, and we will send you, whenever we post a new show, we'll send you the show. That's how we roll. Now we get to the segment called
Life Grand.
1 month before Election Day, Jared Kushner, the husband of Ivanka Trump, the son-in-law of Donald Trump, the one who helped set up the whole travel ban of travelers, the travel ban of the whole traveling through the Middle East thing that President Donald Trump did recently, which he enjoyed. I heard he had a great time.
I'm really rich.
And he said things like that. What's the other thing he said? About how he's a showboat and a grandstand?
He's a showboat. He's a grandstander.
Now, 1 month before Election Day, Jared Kushner's real estate company finalized a $285 million loan. That's a whole lot of money, as part of a refinancing package for its property near Times Square in Manhattan. The loan came at a critical moment. Kushner was playing a key role in the presidential campaign of his father-in-law, Donald Trump. The lender was Deutsche Bank. Deutsche Bank. And you know, we have a little bit of music for that. That's not it. Is this it? That's not it. This is it. This is it. I don't know where it went. Is it it? Well, who took my... Somebody took my fun dancing music that comes from Germany. I'm gonna There I was accusing someone, and I was wrong. Now, so what happened was, the lender Deutsche Bank was negotiating to settle a federal mortgage fraud case and charges from New York state regulators that Deutsche Bank had aided a possible Russian money laundering scheme. These cases were settled in December and January. Now, Kushner's association with that bank that has an association with the Russians is among a number of financial matters that could come under focus as his business activities are reviewed by Special Counsel Robert Mueller as part of a broader investigation into possible Russian influence in the election. The October deal illustrates the extent to which Kushner was balancing roles as a top advisor to Trump and a real estate company executive. And then, after the election, he juggled duties for the Trump transition team and his corporation as he prepared to move to the White House. The Washington Post has reported that investigators are probing Kushner's separate December meeting with the Russian ambassador to the United States, Sergei Kislyak, and the Russian banker Sergei Gorkov, the head of Neshikon Bank, a state development bank. Dude is busy. Meanwhile, the hacking group Anonymous, they go after Bart quite a bit. They've actually shut down Bart. They've shut down the Wi-Fi on Bart, and they create all kinds of pandemonium. They're a loose collective of hackers and online activists. They claim that the U.S. space agency NASA is all set to announce the discovery of alien life. That's right. People are from Mars.
Cookie.
And NASA says aliens are coming, they wrote on their website. In a video on the issue, Anonymous has cited several other alien-friendly comments made by astronauts and space exploration enthusiasts in the past, as well as various alien and UFO sightings as evidence that something is going on in the skies above. That's what... Wow. I don't know. I thought they were trying to... Now they're... You know, conspiracy theorists, the ones that wear the foil on the top of their head. That's kind of where Anonymous is going. They're going in that direction. They're fans of Art Bell. A new update for Google Glass has just rolled out to the surprise of the entire technology community. You remember Google Glass and how it failed? People considered it to be ugly, creepy, and overly expensive. They thought it was creepy because, like, it was on all the time, and you could be in the bathroom, and someone would be in there with Google Glass and filming you in the bathroom. No. And it was overly expensive to boot. We all believed that Google had killed it off for good after it halted sales back in 2015. Google even shut down the website for it, as well as all the social media accounts for it. However, the company still appears to be working on the device. It has just received its first update since 2014. First spotted by The Verge, the update includes bug fixes and performance improvements and adds Bluetooth input device support so you can hook a mouse or keyboard up to it. It's a bizarre and totally unexpected move from the company, which has prompted speculation of an impending return for Google Glass. Wow. And let's see, we had this other story about why, all this talk about, the hot weather last week. And then it was brought up that planes can't fly in the heat. Well, actually, it goes like this. When it comes to getting airplanes off the ground in broiling weather, it's not the heat or the humidity, it's the air density. Popular Mechanics wrote, hotter air gets thin, making it harder to take off and land safely, mostly for smaller jets. That's what kept some planes grounded in Phoenix last week when temperatures had pushed 120 degrees. Airplanes take off and stay aloft because of lift. No, not the service that's going to end up replacing Uber all over the world because Uber ended up being a bunch of sexist maniacs. Lift. The force from the movement of air underneath the plane's wings that push it upward. As air warms up, it expands, and there's fewer molecules to be under your wing. With and by the way, this guy who they quoted lives near my mom. She's talked to him before in Daytona Beach. No, she hasn't actually talked to him. But he does live near my mom because he teaches at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, which is in Daytona Beach. And when I fly into Daytona Beach, I always fly into the airport that's right next to this school. Very famous aeronautical school. With less lift, you need more of everything. You need more thrust to take off. You need more distance on the runway to take off. You need more distance to land. You need more speed to land. It gets to a point for some aircraft that it just gets too much. To compensate, planes have to generate more thrust or power and have larger wings. Smaller jets that generate less thrust, they are more likely to be stuck in the heat. Now, at Dubai International Airport and other Gulf airports, which are used to hot weather, many flights, but not all, arrive at night and early morning to get around the heat problem. Gulf carriers also tend to operate longer flights using larger planes that aren't as limited by high heat. And then there's the whole travel ban thing that they have to deal with as well. In Phoenix, temperatures around 118 are infrequent enough that airlines continue to use regional jets for shorter trips. If a plane does try to take off beyond its temperature threshold, it may keep racing down the runway and not get up in time and have to abort. And if it tries to land when the air is too thin and hot, that's not good either because it can run out of runway. Before the flight, pilots consult a sheet that tells them about the temperature, elevation, and even humidity, factors that go into something called density altitude, a key measurement of flight conditions. And airlines can take other steps when the temperature's too high. They can lighten the plane's load by selling fewer seats and telling you if you are of a large weight, you can't fly. No, they don't do that. That might get a little, they run into some issues politically and whatnot. A tactic American Airlines is using in the Phoenix heat wave is selling fewer seats or reducing cargo. They can take off with less than a full tank of fuel and then stop somewhere cooler to refuel. And then also the heat can affect internal components like seals that might become too soft or even melt at higher temperatures. And electronics overheat. Brake temperatures can run high and internal machinery gets overly hot. And then toss in the ground temperature racing past 110 degrees and things begin to break down. Finally, speaking of something a little bit on the cooler side, but not a good thing, is that the snow melt is going on in California. We had a whole bunch of snow. In fact, they were still skiing in Mammoth. They say they're going to be skiing there for, I think another month. Authorities say 90 homes remain under mandatory evacuation orders following levee breaches along a river in California, the result of the state's huge springtime snowpack melting in the summer heat. Several houses are submerged at the Kings River Golf and Country Club in Fresno. Deputies went door to door asking residents to leave after a 15-foot wide breach opened along the river. This was on Friday. A total of 300 people had to evacuate, and floodwaters have damaged 7 structures. So I was just watching a thing as we go outside a cafe anyway. We're bringing Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Castro Valley on CSpan. They were re-airing a lecture. I love watching the lectures on Sunday and Saturday as I am at work and I have the TV on. And I learned things like that the Sacramento Valley in California used to flood all the time. There was a really bad flood in 1861. It was so bad, and the water lingered for months afterwards, that Sacramento was still underwater 3 months later. Leland Stanford, of course, the man who founded Stanford University, he made his money with the railroad industry. He treated the Chinese workers horribly. He also was one of the first people to actually create a movie. This was of a horse galloping, and he used the expertise of the photographer known as, he's got the weird name, I always forget his name, Mulbridge. Mulbridge is his name. And Leland Stanford, who became our governor way back in that time period, he had to be rowed to the Capitol. He was hastily inaugurated, and then he rode back to his house. He would have to enter his house, his huge mansion, through the second floor window. It was that bad. Flooding was that bad in California. We built the levees a couple years later. Well, it took a while for the levees to actually work, and it's a fascinating lecture. I forget his name. I should have all this at my fingertips, but I don't. Just look up California history on the C-SPAN website, and you'll find it very interesting if you're into all that California history stuff. The whole point of his lecture, though, was this was all happening during the gold rush, and that things like this would happen regularly. There'd be floods, there'd be fires. San Francisco burned down several times. Within less than a year, it would burn down again. And it was just like, man, first thing that would be built right back up. This happened in Sonora when it burned down. First building built, the saloon. And they were serving drinks right away, playing the piano, violin, right away. That was the resilience of Californians, and maybe why we have Silicon Valley here and many innovative companies in California, is because we have that kind of can-do attitude. That was my little rah for California. Next show, we're going to have Madame Rootabega, Valentino, Bison Bentley. Enjoy your day, rather. Enjoy, relax. Make it a relaxing Monday if you can. I'm going to try that route.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com.
Email Mike now.
at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!